Everybody, Namaste. Myself, Dr. Datta Dhale, UG and PG Department of Botany, SSVPS, late Karmavir Dr. Para Ghugre Science College, Dhule. Here, I am going to present my topic, organic farming and biofertilizers. Organic farming is a production system which avoids or largely excludes the use of synthetically compound or synthetically compounded fertilizers, pesticides, growth regulators, genetically modified organisms, and livestock food additives. As the trade is very well known in the society, organic farming gets a very bright future. That's why everyone goes towards the organic farming as it gets best result on human health and saving the environment. To the maximum extent possible, organic farming system totally depends or rely upon crop rotation, use of crop residues, animal manures, leguminous plants, green manures, of forming organic waste, biofertilizers, mechanical cultivation, mineral bearing rocks, aspects of biological control to maintain soil productivity and tilt to supply plant nutrients and to control insect, weeds, and other pests. In this way, these are the backbones of the organic farmings. On these, we can easily farm the organic. It is not a very easy aspect. Knowing organic farming is a very easy, but cultivating or going to practice it is a very hard because our system, our soil get affected to non-organic or inorganic components. So it takes some time, but after taking time, it giving a very nice and beautiful results. For the organic farming, it is necessary to understand how the organic manures are prepared. It is a totally depends upon the other aspects. That is mean whenever we can't understand how to organic farming, it is a very easy to understand organic farming, but it is a very difficult to cultivate organic. So whenever we going to cultivate the organically, we must prepare the backbones or we must prepare the organic components which are required to the production of organic material or organic agriculture products. So that's why we not going towards the deep in organic farming, we going towards the which material, which manures, which input, which require to farm organically. Then, for this point, firstly, we are going towards the know about the organic manures. As everybody knows about the organic manures are the natural products used by farmers to provide food that is called as plant nutrients for the crop plant. As there are a number of organic manures like the farmyard manure, green manure, compost prepared from crop residues, and other from wastage. Vermicompost is an best alternative. Oil cakes and biological waste, animal bones, and slaughterhouse refuges are giving to the very beautiful compost. which are used for the production of organic manures. Everybody knows about the production of organic manures, organic waste, utilization of organic waste, and production of organic manures. And most of the peoples or most of the persons who are working in the agriculture, they are practices on the organic manure. But most of them are very least knowledge of biofertilizers. So we are going towards the know about the biofertilizers. Everyone knowing about the organic manures, but list of persons, even the students, are knowing list of knowing about the biofertilizers. So we are going towards the biofertilizer. It is the living fertilizer material. It is a living fertilizer material. Inoculants are the group of microorganisms which are able to fix atmospheric nitrogen. These microorganisms are known as biofertilizers or biological nitrogen fixers. Most of them are the live fertilizer or live strains of the active microorganisms. So, live strains of the active microorganism is known as biofertilizers. Preparations containing primarily active strains of nitrogen fixing microorganism. Not only the nitrogen fixing microorganism, but also those organisms which are able to convert converts the different nutrients which are required to the plants, which readily getting available to the soil or the around the plants. So here we are going to knowing about the preparations containing primarily active strains of nitrogen fixing microorganism, mainly bacteria and algae, or it may be fungi, or it may be other, in sufficient numbers used either to fix atmospheric nitrogen or other stimulate the plant growth. Otherwise, stimulate the plant growth. There are different types of these microorganisms. Basis on the organism of the biofertilizers are of the following types. They are mainly categorized as bacterial biofertilizers or bacterial fertilizers. These are the preparations containing active strains of nitrogen fixing bacteria used to stimulate plant growth. For example, these are some of the their types, like the azofertilizer, which containing the active strains of azotobacter, rhizofertilizers, which consist of active strains of rhizobium, azospirillum fertilizer, which contain the active strains of azospirillum and phosphobacterium. Then there is another category of a biofertilizer which is known as algal fertilizer, algal biofertilizer, algal fertilizer. Blue green algae BGAs or the cyanobacteria or the member of cyanophyceae are nitrogen fixing algae which in rice cultivation or sorry, here is a rice cultivation, which are very useful results or which giving the very beneficial result. They having the different examples like the nostochales, having the examples nostox, nostoc, anabena, cytonema, etc. are belong to the nostochales, having a very good nitrogen fixers. Then another group is stignometals. Stignometals consist of the examples, active strains of the microorganism consisting examples of Tolipothrix, Stygonema, Hopalosiphon, and then Azolla fertilizers like the Anabena. Anabena. Then we are going towards the phosphate solubilizing biofertilizers. These are the fertilizers which contain active strains of the phosphate solubilizing bacteria like Pseudomonas and the Bacillus and the some fungi like the Penicillium, Aspergillus, etc. They secrete organic acids such as formic acid, acetic acid, propionic acid, lactic acid, glycolic acid, fumaric acid, and succinic acid. With the help of other insoluble phosphate in the soil, converts into the soluble forms, which are then used by the cereal crops. And these are very useful microorganisms having the group known as phosphate solubilizing biofertilizers. Then another group is of microorganism is and the mycorrhizal fertilizer or mycorrhizal biofertilizer. These are the fertilizers containing active strains of the root based inoculum of mycorrhizal fungi. That is, the mycorrhiza means the fungus associated with the roots. Many of the crops or many of the gramineous plants and the leguminous are highly susceptible to the mycorrhizal fungi, and hence these fertilizers are used in increasing the productivity of crops like the maize, wheat, barley, potatoes, cowpeas, citrus, peach, soybean, etc. They are showing the very nice or the best beautiful result in the productivity. They are mainly of following types. They different scientists or the different uh, workers have been described differently or have been classified differently. Here we can generally classified into three categories, that is the ectomycorrhiza, endomycorrhiza, and third one is an ectendomycorrhiza. We are going towards the some of the little details about the for different microorganism, which are the bacterial fertilizers or the algal fertilizers or the fungal fertilizers, in which first one we are going towards the bacterial biofertilizers. Bacterial biofertilizers are the preparations that contain the soil microorganism which are beneficial to agriculture plants. When bacterial fertilizers are applied to the soil, biochemical process are strengthened and the root nourishment of the plant is improved. These are the bacterial fertilizers are usually applied to soil together with the seeds or plant material. In this case, with special direction, bacterial fertilizers cannot be shorted or cannot be stored for a long time of period, and for this reason they are prepared in quantities for one season only, as these are the live strains. As we know that we observe inorganic material may be stored for 2 or more years, but like that we can't save or we can't store these live strains because they have some their viability period. In the bacteria, we just look about the one example, knowing rhizobium. It is a very known or it is a very well known example which is found in the leguminous plants root nodule. Rhizobium is a symbiotic nitrogen fixing gram negative bacteria. These are free living bacteria in the soil. These bacterial or these bacteria infects the roots of the leguminous plants and forms root nodules. These are the root nodules formed on the leguminous plants, and these root nodules having such and bacteria. This is an electron microscope image of bacteria which is found in this root nodule. Then we are going towards the isolation of this. Whenever we are going to cultivate these rhizobium in a laboratory, we must go to isolate. For the isolation, as the bacteria is present in the root nodule, it is essential to isolate these from these root nodules. Whenever we going to isolate, firstly take the root nodules, then the sterile with sterile water, and then with zero point 0.5 sodium hypochlorite for 30 seconds. Then also wash into or put into the 70% ethanol for 1 minute, and then dried with sterile filter paper. Then move it will to a sterile water containing these root nodules, and then it will be going towards the inoculation room or inoculation chamber for growth. In this way we can easily isolate from bacteria. If these bacteria known as the rhizobium is isolated from the root nodule, it is necessary to serial dilution. For the serial dilution, we prepare the serial dilution. For example, here the suspension of the microbial cells taken into the conical flask, and this conical flask, this solution which is contained in the which is present in the conical flask, which transferred into the test tube by serial dilution method, and after serial dilution it will be transferred to the culture room or isolated colonies. Then in the culture room, after this serial dilution, we see the growth of these microorganism, that is the rhizobium. For the identification of these microorganism, that is the rhizobium, we go towards the two different tests. The first one is an congorate test, and second is one is a lactose agar test. And by these tests we can confirm these rhizobium. And for the mass multiplication of these rhizobium, we can transfer this broth into the conical flask or small flask. Then the broth is transferred to the big flask. Then big flask broth is transferred to the for secari or secker for limited requirement, or in the fermenter for large requirement. And then after this uh, fermenter or the shakers, the broth put towards the quality check. Then after the quality checking, the broth is blend with the sterile carriers, which is maybe peat or which is maybe lignite, use as a suitable. Then after mixing with a suitable carrier, we prepare a packing in the polythene bag. After packing the culture in the polythene bag, put it on 25 degrees Celsius for room temperature. Then quality check again, and then store in low temperature at around 4 degrees Celsius, and then go towards the or supply towards the farmers. And these are the whenever the material is getting from the laboratory or from the market, it will be prepared a slurry into the beaker, and it will be put to the, or it will be mixed thoroughly to the seeds, and then after mixing it will be set dried, and after say drying it sow in the agriculture field. In this way, this rhizobium culture has a great agronomic importance. It has been observed that when gram seeds treated with rhizobium increases the yield up to 76% in the gram. In the pigeon pea, the yield increases up to 46%, and in the mung bean, 55% increases in the yield was observed. In this way, these a small microorganism known as rhizobium, which is freely present in the soil and associated in the symbiotically in root nodules, which helps in more about the absorption of free atmospheric nitrogen and easily and giving to easily available to the plants, and in this way this rhizobium is very useful for nitrogen fixation, which is an very important bacterium. Another one is and bacterium which is known as Azospirillum. The genus Azospirillum comprises free living nitrogen fixing bacteria that are known as plant growth promoting rhizobacteria. PGPR, that is the plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, which can be colonized by adhesive, the root surface, or the intercellular species of the host of the root. Several species of Azospirillum are able to secrete phytohormones such as auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, and the nitric nitric oxides as the signals of plant growth promoters. Azospirillum inoculants are recommended mainly for the sorghum, miles, millets, maize, sugarcane, and wheat. These are the some of the products present in the market. They are in two forms, that is the slurry form or the liquid form, and one is the powder form, which is adhesive to the some of the carrier. These are the azospirillum. Azospirillum isolation, as we are the isolated rhizobium from the root nodule, it is going to isolate from the soil using the enrichment enrichment technique on the solid medium with millet as a carbon source. Then the addition of different 0.05% of nitrogen to the medium reduces the large phase, the semi solid medium. These are the some of the isolation techniques. For the mass production of this azospirillum, we are going towards the just there we see uh, broth which is present in the test tube, which transferred to the conical flask, small conical flask, large conical flask, or in the fermenter or the shaker. In the same way, here also going to the produce large amount of the mass multiplication of azospirillum. Then starter material and carrier. Here we can use the different carriers. Then here giving as the we are already knowing about the production method here. Here is also as the same, little but changes as the species changes, temperature also changes, pH also changes, and carrier also changes. Then it having the associative effect of different organisms, it having the different organism having the different associative effect. Whenever organism living with a suitable other or microorganism, it giving a very nice productive results. As azospirillum, it is mainly present in cereal plant, inhibits both root cells as well as surrounding of the roots, forming a symbiotic relation and increases nitrogen fixation or nitrogen fixing potential of the cereal plants. Azospirillum is recognized as a dominant soil microorganism or microbe, nitrogen in the range of 20 to 40 kilo per hectare in the rhizosphere. In non-leguminous plant such as cereals, millets, and the oil seeds or cotton, etc., considerable quantity of nitrogen fertilizers up to the 25 to 30% can be saved by use of azospirillum inoculant, and these species have been commonly exploited for the use of nitrogen supplying biofertilizer. And third one, bacteria, which is known as the azotobacter. As we know about the rhizobium, azospirillum, and third one is an azotobacter. Azotobacter, these are the products which are present in the market. They are also having a liquid form and the solid form. Azotobacter is a genus of usually motile, oval, or spherical bacteria that forms thick wall cyst and may, may produces large quantities of capsular slims. They are aerobic, free living, and the soil microbes that plays an important role in the nitrogen cycle in the nature, binding atmospheric nitrogen, which is insoluble to the plant, and realizing it is in the form of ammonium ions into the soil. That is the nitrogen fixation. That is the, in addition to the being a model organism for the studying diazotrophs, it is used by human for the production of biofertilizer, food additive, and some of the biopolymers. These are the applications of azotobacters. The classification for the, this is an taxonomic part, but there are so many species of the azotobacter which are going to isolate from the soil, as it is found around the microsphere of the monocot roots. There are so many genus and species which are representative of the azotobacter. Azotobacter crucocum is the representative of this genus, and there are some 6 species which are found mainly in around our area. This having the so many characters. Azotobacter is a gram negative and polymorphic, then size ranging from 2 to 10 into 1 to 2.5 micrometer. These are the different characters of this azotobacter. This is an same image, electron microscope image of azotobacter crucocum. Then this is the image of compound microscope, and some of the crop giving very nice response to these azotobacter, as the rice gives a very nice result for the production of rice up to 50% increases. Some of the authors giving their view, some of them giving about views about the wheat, 30%, 16 to 30% increase in the yield, while in the sorghum there is a good result as 9 to 38% yield shown in the sorghum, while in the maize, the species of the Azotobacter curcocum in the rhizosphere of maize, this is the good response. There are the different strains used in the experiment. And while in the palm millet, there is and also very nice growth of this bacteria, but the result may show some of the uh, very less amount of the yield increases. In cotton, strains specifying the azotobacter from the cotton and increases yield of the cotton fibers were reported by several workers. Uh, Means there is very less amount of the growth or yield, but the we can say the length of the fiber maybe increases. Other crops, it is used for the different crops like the cabbage, green gram, sesame, bamboo, sugarcane, tomato, chickpea, ragi, potato, and sugar beet. They are giving the nice result. And for the production of is the we are showing rhizobium, then the azospirillum, azotobacter have the same production technique, and these are the some of the production diagram. And this is the azotobacter which are giving production, where these are the some of species giving their morphological colonization. And for the mass production, they are giving a nice beautiful result of mass production too. After the mass production, with combination of a suitable carrier, it will be packed and stored into the cool place. Then it having, as we already known about the applications in every crop detailed, it is not necessary to have the get some of the applications. Then another one type, which is known as the fungal fertilizers or fungal biofertilizers, known as the mycorrhizae. Mycorrhizal fungal increases the root system several hundreds to the several thousand times. It means fungal mycorrhizas or biofertilizers in which mycorrhiza means, as we know, that fungus which are growing on the root. The root growing around the root or on the root, which gives a yield, a rises yield, and these are found in naturally approximately 90% of the plants infected with the mycorrhizae, and 83% dicots, 79% monocot, and 100% gymnospermic plants are infected by these mycorrhizae, and converts insoluble form of the phosphorus into the soluble forms. This is not only a nutrition that solubilize by these mycorrhizae, but other also so many nutrients which are readily available by solubilizing these mycorrhizae. These are the some applications of these mycorrhizae. Mycorrhizas are found in a wide range of habitats, including desert, then the lowland tropical rainforest, then the high latitude and altitude, then it having the uptake of nutrition and mineral nutritional acquisition from soil is considered to be primary functions of the mycorrhizae, in addition to its role in ecology and man economics. Why mycorrhizae is an important? Mycorrhizae increases nutritional uptake from the soil. Mycorrhizal fungi can be used in the biocontrol of pathogenic fungi and nematodes. Some mycorrhizal fungi can bind heavy metals, thus protecting plant from the toxic level of these substances. Mycorrhizas have a positive effect on establishment of plant communities, and these are some of the importance by which we are going to using a very large amount of the mycorrhizae. On the basis of morphological and anatomical features, mycorrhizae are divided into three different categories, as we know already: ectomycorrhizae, endomycorrhizae, and ectendomycorrhizae. Then the endomycorrhizas are further classified into different five classes. That is the vascular arbuscular mycorrhizae, then the arcuate mycorrhizae, then the monotropoid mycorrhizae, then the ericoid mycorrhizae, then the uh, art- arbutoid mycorrhizae. And these are the different details about the ectomycorrhizae, which are growing around the epidermis. Ectomycorrhizae are the association where the fungi forms and mantle around the roots, and there are no hyperpenetration of cell. Fungal hyphae is generally separate. A distinct Hartig's net is present between the cell. And here we can show, or we can see how the ectomycorrhizae are grow inside or on the epidermis. And here ectomycorrhizae showing their growth on different roots. Also here some of the examples having growth of these mycorrhizae. Then the endomycorrhizae. It is a mycorrhizal association in which the fungal hyphae are penetrate into the root as individual threads, and that may be penetrate directly into the root hairs or other epidermal cells and into the cortical cells, and they form a vesicle. They are penetrate into the cell and forming the vesicles. In this way, these endomycorrhizae are growing inside the cells, and they having the different types, in which first one is an vesicular arbuscular mycorrhizae. Second one is arcudoid mycorrhizae. Vesicular arbuscular mycorrhizae, fungi formed a VAM association with plants may belong to ascomites, basidiomyces, and zygomites. These three groups which are forming the association with the plants or different plants. These are known as the VAM fungi. While the Arcodides mycorrhizae having the fungi belongs to Basidiomycotina and colonize only the members of the family Orchidaceae. Then the third is Ericoids mycorrhizae. The fungal members are the usually Basidiomycetes and Ascomycetes, and these are found in roots of the plants belonging to other Ericales. Then monotropoids mycorrhizae, the fungi belonging to the Basidiomycotina, colonizing achlorophyllous members of the angiosperms belonging to the family Monotropoaceae. Then arbitoid mycorrhizae merger association are variant of ectomycorrhizae found in certain plants in the Ericaceae, characterized by hyphae coil in the epidermal cell. Here we can say or seen very clearly the coiling of the hyphae in the epidermal cells, and these are the arbitoidal mycorrhizae. Then the ectendomycorrhizae, the fungi belong to Basidiomycotina, which covers both gymnosperms and angiosperm plant. Ectendomycorrhizae shows many of the some characteristics or same characteristics of the endomycorrhizae, but also some extensive intracellular penetration. It's showing the intercellular penetration extensive. The formation of ectendomycorrhizae being with the formation of Hartig's net, which grows behind the apical meristem of the growing root. The Hartig's net penetrates between the epidermal and the outer cortical cells and later extend to the inner cortex. In this way, the different types of the endomycorrhizae. For the production of VAM, it is a very difficult task, but we can, for the practices, or by giving the different practices, you may cultivate in, or it by produces by different method. There is a sieving method or the floating method, or we can maybe go towards the mass production. For the production, we can go by these steps. For example, in sieving method, soil sample which will be sterilized, then hot water treatment, filter with the sieves, with the different sieves, that is the 710 micrometer, 250, 50, 45 micrometer spore separation from the soil particles, with mixed with the particular carrier or carrier material, and used when required as a biofertilizer. And this is the floating method, uh, where the centrifuge used. And for the mass production, the spores and some of the solutions or antibiotics may be mixed for the sterilizing, and for the giving the best result. They are showing here the detail. Then applications of these mycorrhizae for the increase nutritional uptake of the plant from the soil, that is the phosphorus nutrients and other elements like the nitrogen, potassium, calcium, magnesium, zinc, copper, sulfur, then the beryllium, molybdenum, iron, magnesium, and the chlorine. And this also increases diversity of plant production, uh, produces uniform seedling, then the significant role in nutrient recycling, more tolerant to adverse soil and chemical constituents, which limits the crop production, increases plant resistance to the disease and the drought, then stimulate the growth of beneficial microorganisms, and improves the soil structure is and the best application of these mycorrhizae. And the stable soil aggregate hypopolysaccharides bind and the aggregate soil particle. In this way, these mycorrhizal having very nice and very beautiful applications in the different field. There are so many microorganisms, while there is another type which is known as the algal mycorrhizae, algal biofertilizers, in which azolla, which is an very known example. Azolla is an actually pteridophyte, and the pteridophyte having the association of anabena, which is an one of the alga. In the pteridophyte, which is known as azolla, is a small plant having a suitable environment for the growing of anabena. And whenever this plant is growing on a suitable dams, or in the soil, or in a water ponds, these blooms are collected and crushed as and used as an nitrogen fertilizer for the algal fertilizer. In this way, there are so many different microorganisms having a very best use. And here we are uh, showing an example. Whenever we going to use mycorrhizae or different uh, biofertilizers, use application of different fertilizers, biofertilizers, whenever we going to use different fertilizers, we may show the result as this. Whenever we not applying the microorganism or the microfertilizers, biofertilizers, then the result of the plant producing roots is here low amount. And also we can do experiment uh, here showing the application of mycorrhizae, showing very list of the germination rate. And whenever we going to apply mycorrhiza or different microorganism or different biofertilizers, it may use or it may shows a very nice or beautiful growth or increases the rate of germination. In this way, we can always use of these biofertilizers. Thank you very much. There are so many different microorganisms useful, but due to time limit, it is not possible to cover all the microorganism as possible as I have taken here. So thank you everybody.